Good morning to all of you. I am Dr. Naina Nilakaravasam, the session co-host for the parallel session 2.2. So I'm SCH_Naina in the participant list. The session chair has already logged. She is indicated as SC_ with her name. Then the presenters, all the presenters should rename them as with the paper ID number in front, underscore, and with their name. All others, the co-authors of the papers and other participants should rename them as participant underscore with their name. So then it will be easy for us to identify you. The chairperson of the parallel session, online session 2.2 is Dr. DVM De Silva from the Faculty of Education. Dear Dr. De Silva, now I'm handing over the session to you. So we will be playing the presentations from this end. So we have all the presentations here. So can you take over?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Naina. Good morning to you all and welcome to the 34th Annual Conference of the Asian Association of Open Universities. This session is on learner engagement and motivation in ODL, challenges and possibilities. There will be 5 presentations, abstract number 50, 60, 73, 136, and 84. And every presenter will have 10 minutes for their presentation, followed by 5 minutes for Q&A. The pre-recorded presentations will be played as per the schedule. And I would like to inform some instructions. The presenters and the audience, you should have to mute your microphones during the time when the recordings are played and can opt to turn off the video. During the Q&A time, presenters have to turn on their videos and microphones to answer the questions. So now I cordially invite our first presenter, Bechria Petwa Dini and Didvina Adiasi. Their presentation is on enhancing learners' listening skills with H5P, a Moodle-based online learning platform. Over to you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the chance that given to me. I'm Dini and with my partner Lidwina, we'll present the paper titled Enhancing Learners' Listening Skill with H5P, a Moodle-based online learning platform. The Open University is assisted by the development of information and communication technology to keep on innovating. Today, Open University is no longer a single player in distance education. There needs to be a reliable strategy for metamorphosis. The variety of study aid is varied increasingly. For example, Tuton, tutorial website or to web, tutorial radio, UTTV, drive labs, and online bookstore. The characteristic of students' self-directed learning in online learning need to be optimally facilitated. Learning materials play an important role in replacing the presence of teacher in learners' learning process. This study aims at describing the online learning activities for the listening tree course at UT using H5P and analyze learners' perception of their learning experiences in listening with H5P. A descriptive analysis was conducted in this study by observation and online survey. Listening skill for higher education learners. Listening ability is the basis for the development of other language skills such as reading, speaking, and writing. Rose 1991 states that listening is the coordination of perception, analysis, and synthesis skills that are mutually integrated so as to form a listening ability. In listening skill, an instructor has the responsibility of providing meaningful and authentic learning experiences. Learning material offered to learn have become the main factor in the learning process. Listening activities through online platform for distant learners. Audio media is very appropriate to support the listening learning process because this type of media is related to the sense of hearing in understanding an oral message. In terms of distance learning material innovation, the use of appropriate technology for instructor and learners in communication become important. Interaction is considered effective if learners actively do independent learning and instructor provide feedback to evaluate the learning process that have been done. What is H5P? H5P can be integrated with Moodle. Some of the advantages of H5P include easy, share, reuse, mobile-friendly, rich content, and open source. Easy, share, and reuse means that H5P make it easy to create, share, and reuse HTML5 content and application. Mobile-friendly means that H5P content is responsive. Rich content means that H5P can be integrated to CMS or LMS. H5P is completely free and open technology licensed under the MIT license. The H5P has many types of quizzes that can be used, like interactive video, content that allowing user to add multiple choice, fill in the blank question, pop-up text, and other type of interactive to their video, make video more engaging. An interactive video. And it's used in listening tree. You can display video without subtitles by inserting question and quizzes about the topic you have just listened to the desired minute. Another type, drag and drop. Based on survey result, the most preferred drag and drop quiz type. And this drag the word. And another type, fill in the blank. Material and quiz mapping. The course is divided into 8 sessions. Each session contains material instructional activities such as watching video, listening audio, and sharing PowerPoint. At the end of the session, there is a self-assessment. There are 103 of quizzes and using F5E. And this material and interactive mapping, it can be seen in the table that there is the topic of each session, the topic of each question, and the type of quizzes used. And this for session 5 and 8. And this interface of listening quiz is the fifth session on the topic of developing table, the order of display in the quiz instruction, the audio media as a story or a question that must be heard. Then the diagram below becomes a question based on what is heard using the drag and drop quiz type. And in session 7, with the topic film review, listening to the dialogue of two films that are currently being reviewed. The implementation of interactive quizzes of using H5E was used by students in the first semester of 2020, was followed by 3 online classes of listening 3 course, May until June 2020, but due to the lack of respondent in this semester, online survey was continued in the next semester. Based on the diagram, the survey participant was dominated by learners from Java, like Bandung, Malang, Yogyakarta, Purwokerto, and Jakarta, and several other area. While outside Java Island, there were students from Kendari, Ambon, Bandar Lampung, and Pontianak. The following are some of the answers to the participation questionnaire. Figure 1 shows several respondents added that their preferred type of quiz drag and drop type. Figure 2 shows that the chart as many as 17 people of learners said that doing quizzes in the H5V plugin was their first experiences. Figure 3 shows that 20 learners said that they didn't complete the available quizzes, while 16 people show their enthusiasm by actively working on the weekly quizzes available in H5E. Figure 4 shows that relevance of the H5E material to discussion topic discussed in the related week is good, and as many as 95% of learners agree, while one learner said that the H5A material is not relevant to the topic of discussion each week. This research was conducted in 2020 because COVID epidemic. The FGD was held by virtual on November 20. The FGD took about 90 minutes to deepen the learner's perception as stated in the questionnaires. Some of learners' experiences and opinion about H5 quizzes for listening. 1. The first experience for all learners working on H5 quizzes were from the listening tree course and not on any other quizzes. 2. There is a type of question from S5V, namely interactive video, which is very interactive because the video can be played by inserting the question and also inserting the material on the video. 3. Learner who have profession as teacher was interested to develop quizzes using S5V plugin to be implemented for their own student in other school. 4. The interactive video type on S5V is a type of question that is the most unique from the other question type in other application. And the last conclusion, interactive content using H5A quizzes in listening to the course has shown that it's quite effective for providing meaningful and authentic learning experiences to learners. Even so, some learners still face obstacles in using or viewing H5A content. The biggest obstacle experienced by students is network, which causes students not be able to fully utilize H5A. But the positive feedback given by learners during FGD was that they were very satisfied and they enthusiasm. They expected that such content will be added to the variation and also applied to other classes as well as other language skill. So this is the end. I will try to answer any question you might have. Thank you very much for your great attention. May all this we have shared be beneficial for all of us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And it's a very interesting and informative presentation. Now the time for Q&A. Any questions from the audience? Yes, there is one question from a participant. The question is how to make the H5P videos. Any resources available with the internet?
Okay, thank you. You can hear my voice?
Yes, we can hear.
Okay, thank you. H5V is integrated to Moodle, so you have to install H5V in the Moodle, and then you can choose a type interactive video. So you can add the video that you can download from open source, or you can create your video with a file type MP4, and then you can upload the video on H5P.
Okay, and I also have one question. Now, sometimes your academics and the students also may not have enough experience with this. So, what are the measures that your university is going to take to overcome this situation?
Sorry, can you repeat? Sorry.
Sorry, your academics and the students may not have enough experience with this tool. So what are the measures that your university is going to take to overcome that situation?
Yes, some student, this is the first time using H5P, and is not as much in the previous course.
Oh, maybe some workshops for them in future you may have. Okay, thank you very much.
On the future, I will make it interactive with H5P and online, so we can more interactive, and student and instructor can open the question like live question and feedback also on live in the next project maybe.
Yeah, okay. So thank you, Betria Petradini and Lidina
Thank you so much
for your interesting presentation.
Thank you.
Now we move to the second presentation, abstract number 60. The topic is analysis the implementation of online tutorial in the Universitas Terbuka, Indonesia. Presenters are Sri Yuniati P.K. Hardney and Lintang Petria and Devi Mutriara. Over to you.
Good morning. My name is Sri Yuniati Putriko Sardini. You can call me just Uni. Thank you for giving me time to explain my paper with the title Analysis of the Implementation of Online Tutorial in Universitas Terbuka, Indonesia. I did this paper with my colleagues Lintang Patria and Devi Mutiara. First of all, I will talking about the problem. We have many students who registered the online tutorial, but the student did not follow or active in the whole session in tutorial online. The aims of this research is to find out why the students are not active in following the whole online tutorial. Sample taken from students of agribusiness study program who followed online tutorial in year 2017 and 18 at the first and second semester. Now, I will talk about online tutorial in UT. All those involved in online tutorial have their respective roles. For example, the first one is UT. UT have to register all students to follow online tutorial. Secondly, student. Students have to register their courses, activate the tuton with filling the form of their willingness to follow the courses that they already registered. Thirdly is tutor. They have to develop online course material for 8 sessions. Check daily activities in online tutorial, for instance, how many students are active or inactive, and give comment and feedback in discussion session, also grading on assignment task 1, 2, and 3. At the final session, tutors have to make an online tutorial implementation report. The result. Percent of the students in their online activities we can see at this figure. The blue, the red, and the green line show that there is increasing number of students almost in every semester in accessing to online tutorial, student participation in discussion, and student done their assignment. If we look at the number, it shows that only 72% students who active in access to online tutorial, 56% students who active in discussion, and 50% of students done their assignment. It means that we still have 28% students were inactive in access to online tutorial. 44% did not participation in discussion, and 50% did not done their assignment. In 2018, UT made a new rule that UT did not register all students to join online tutorial anymore. Students must register themselves to follow the online tutorial. But it turned out that the results show the number of students who were actively participating in online tutorial was still not as many as those who registered. The result? The reason for the inactivity of students are difficulty for students to access the internet due to the geographical condition of student house. Internet network is often down. Students find it difficult to divide their time between work and college. Students still lack understanding of the existence of online tutorial, and students feel the time given is too short for each session. We just give every session is only 1 week. So we can see the cause of students not being active in field tutorial activities seen from tutoring service. Tutors are passive in the discussion. Tutors do not or rarely provide feedback. Tutor did not provide a grade on time. Tutor do not provoke students to be active in discussion. Lack of commitment from tutors because they are too busy with their work. There are too many online tutorial classes that make it difficult to divide time. Tutors hold courses that are not in their field. The conclusion, we just have the conclusion. The new rule that students must register themselves to take part in online tutorial still does not affect the activeness of students in the online tutorial. There needs to be more outreach to students about the benefits and how to take the online tutorial. The role of the tutor is very large in increasing student participation in online tutorial activities. There needs to be a rewards and punishment for the tutors. It is necessary to monitor the implementation of online tutorial on a regular basis. I think it's all, and thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the audience? Okay, I like to ask from the presenter. Now, as I identified from your presentation, there are two major problems. One is with the online facilities for students, and the other major constraint is with the academic sides. Tutors are not competent enough to act as facilitators in online learning environment. So it's a big problem. So what are the strategies that your university can adapt to overcome this situation rather instead of providing rewards is also one method, and instead of giving punishments, what else your university can do? What are your suggestions?
Okay, I will answer that. The university give the punishment for tutor. They will not use as a tutor anymore, or 1, 2 semester, and give the like a refreshing that they we hope that tutor will change the service. So that like this, and for tutorial webinar, we also monitor how tutor do in that class. So we know that they give feedback directly, not waiting for long. I think like that.
Okay. And you may have some capacity building workshops for these academics to teach them how to act as effective facilitators in online learning environment. And there is another question from the audience. Does the culture of reward and punishment help tutors to actively engage with their students? Or how about fostering a culture of support to tutors? What is your answer for that?
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know yet because now after the COVID pandemic happened, UT have a new rule. So we have so many students that follow the online tutorial that will we still need them, but if in every semester we start to do online tutorial, then we give the refreshing time to tutor and give the new rule and new how they have to do in tutorial, online tutorial. I think like this in UT.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. You discuss about a common problem. Sometimes we all have less participation of students in online learning environments. So thank you very much again for your interesting presentation.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And our third presentation is on abstract number 73. The topic is ODL for rural masses and the use of community radio as an alternative mechanism to reach the unreached. An empirical study of Jainan Taranga Community Radio Service, Guwahati, Assam, India. So the presenters are one presenter is there, Sangeeta Kakoti from Open University, SM, India. Over to you.
Well, myself, Dr. Sangeeta Kakoti, my topic is audio for rural masses and the use of community radio as an alternative mechanism to reach the unreached. An empirical study of Gyan Taranga Community Radio Services, Guwahati, Assam. The main objective of this paper is to establish the community radio services as a genuine alternative to that of the existing smart devices. For this, I have studied the community radio services, basically the Gyan Taranga services towards the learner of KK Hendrik State Open University. As a part of my objective, I had done a general study about the learner of support system of ODL institutes and the problem faced by the ODL learner. I studied the KK Hendrik State Open University services towards the learner during the lockdown period. Volunteers of Gyan Taranga were interviewed to get the information about the strategy taken at the managerial and organizational level to reach the learner located at the rural areas. KK Hendrik faculty members also were randomly interviewed to get the exact information about the accessibility of implemented educational tools. Then broadcasting program listeners' feedback were also studied to strengthen my objective. And the idea behind writing this paper is that at the lockdown period, when all education sector were totally paralyzed, KK Hendrik State Open University started its various instruments to facilitate education to their learner. With all adopted strategy, they have used community radio services to reach the remotely located learners, and they got good result from the learner and from the listeners also. Then I realized that yes, the community radio services might be a genuine alternative for all ODL institutions to facilitate education to the learners of the remote areas like developing countries. Though SLM is the main pillar of ODL providers to reach their learner, the ODL providers are trying their best to give education to their learner by incorporating many advanced technological oriented supporting mechanism like ESLM, virtual classes, audio visual learning material, etc., as a supplement of their SLM, but not able to connect 100% of their learner. This is due to the poor connectivity of internet services in some areas of our developing countries. We all seen that due to the flexibility and easily accessible nature of ODL system, many rural communities prefer ODL mode of education. They usually dependent on the printing material and the ICT support system, but due to the poor or no electricity to operate those ICT appliances, most of the rural learners are deprived from the facility provided by most of the ODL institutions. Therefore, ODL providers have to think of an alternative solution for their remotely located learner. Now, what is the community radio and what is their services? Community radio is the modified concept of FM radios that serve a particular geographical community. It is the initiative of UNESCO on 1980s, which later considered as the third generation of radio in the radio history. It can directly raise community voice. Communities even use it as a vehicle to disseminate their information. One major advantage of community radio is that it can broadcast those content which cannot be easily broadcast by commercial radio stations. One of the pioneer of community radio from her, the Archana Kapoor's paper, it has seen that listenership of radio, television, and social medias are nearly same. In her paper, she written that radio has seen an increase of 23% in its listenership. Again, the Prakash Javadekar, the Minister of Information and Broadcasting, in his first recorded interaction with community radio stations in the month of May 2020, acknowledged the valuable contribution of CR stations in spreading awareness amongst communities on COVID-19. He also told that CR is working as an agent of change, and also said they have the power to influence opinions and change behavior of the community. The accessibility point of view, we can say that it is a very easily accessible for all. More and more aspirational areas and dark areas can be covered. Since it broadcasts in local language, people can relate it very easily and instantly. Nowadays, the reach of a community radio is up to 30 kilometer approx, which was previously only 10 kilometers, but sometimes we can get beyond this range also. As community radio is one of the FM, it is accessible from the smart Android devices and within the transmitter coverage range, obviously, and without internet connectivity too. And it is very cost effective in NASA. To set up on the community radio, only a bank guarantee of 25,000 is needed by the ministry, and apart from that, a spectrum fee of rupees 22,500 and a license fee of rupees 1,000 is only chargeable amount annually. That too is also annually by the ministry. And equipment what is required to set up the community radio station is very robust and easy to maintain also. And acoustic and soundproofing is also not that much compulsory for the studio. Only the announcer booth must be soundproof so that it will not pick up any external noises. And these are from the stakeholders point of view, and from user point of view also it is very affordable, because without having any radio devices they can hear from their Android mobile handset also. Android mobile handset is very much available, and nowadays it is everyone's hand we will be getting. And because of that is why you can say that because of this accessibility nature and easily affordable nature of community radio, we can use this community services in our educational institutes also. And government also make the whole setup process easier for the exclusively for the educational institutes. They announced in one of their order in 2018 stated that to set up community radio in educational institute, they need only single window clearance from the ministry. They no need to have the clearance from the defense, WPC, etc., etc. Thus, all ODL providers can think of these affordable services. And these are few examples of community radio station that working as a educational tool. About near about 251 operational CRS in India, 110 operated by educational institutes and 15 by the agricultural university and Krishi Vigyan Kendras. And in our state, in Assam also, three state university, Guwahati University, Dibrugarh University, and ours is the KK Hendrix State Open Universities are using our community radios for our students. And our community radio Gyan Taranga is the first community radio services in Northeast India. And apart from that, IIT Guwahati and Tezpur University also use their campus radio services exclusively for their. Yeah, these are the contribution of Gyan Taranga towards learner at the time of pandemic only. And you know that at Assam lockdown started at 23rd March and it was continued till 5 months. And in this pandemic time, Gyan Taranga Community Radio was broadcasting daily 2 hours radio educational program. And we have used teachers of KK Hendrix State Open University as a volunteer broadcaster so that learner can directly connect to them. And apart from that, they have done different types of awareness program with the help of with the government and non-government organization. And these are some radio programs by in collaboration with UNICEF, UNESCO, Ministry of Ayush and all. And these all are the radio program basically on this pandemic situation, the prevention campaign and the vaccinations and all. And as a concluding remark, I can say that all ODL providers can take initiative to improvise community radio services in education purposes. And these are my references. And with this, I am concluding my presentation. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Audience, now over to you. Are there any questions? Dr. Sangeeta, I want to know now, normally in technology enhanced, other technology enhanced learning environments, there are so many ways to provide an interactive learning opportunities for students. So now in this method, how you are going to overcome this challenge to provide interactive learning environment for students?
Yeah. See, actually, my paper is for actually rural area students. They are having lots of problems because of the poor internet connectivity. Mainly, they are facing this problem. Mainly ODL learners and ODL learner because of their flexible nature. Mainly, the students, rural area students, prefer ODL mode of learning, and because of some other problem like they cannot have the electricity. Sometimes they do not have their own area internet facility also, so they are always deprived from the facility the ODL institutes are giving. And yes, lots of you are saying that many different types of new technologies are coming, but few students are always deprived from this new technological means advantages. That is why actually I prefer that community, because I got proof also that from our community radio, when we give services to our learner, that rural area, that learner also getting this facility, because they can directly directly interact to their teachers and all with these community radio stations. That is why actually I concluded my paper in this way, that this yes, the new technological advantages, the all technologies are there, okay, no doubt. With that, they can have the universities, the ODL universities can have, they can see the remotely located areas where their learners are located, and there they can means internet facility, they can not internet facility, the CR station they can establish in particularly that particular areas where they are mostly remoted areas. That is the main purpose of my paper.
Okay. Thank you very much for your very informative answer. And are there any questions from the audience? Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Sangeeta, for your providing us a very good example, and it's very interesting presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now we'll move to our next presentation, abstract number 136, review of the prevailing trends in online learning amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, empirical study of the higher education sector in Sri Lanka. There are 4 authors, Asanka Senaviratna, Vistianpille Sivalogathasan, Randima Gunasekara, and Varuni Nisansala. Over to you all.
Welcome all of you. This is the topic of our presentation, review of prevailing trends in online learning amidst COVID-19 pandemic, empirical study in higher education sector in Sri Lanka. The participant of this study, Professor B. Sivalokadasan, I am Asanka Senaviratna, Randima Gunasekara, and Varuni Nisansala. Outline of the research purpose, introduction to the research problem, methodology, data analysis, finding, and discussion. Purpose of this study is to review of prevailing trends in online learning amidst in COVID-19 pandemic in the higher education sector in Sri Lanka. COVID-19 is referred to as a pandemic due to its severity and fierceness, also the greatest global health crisis since after centuries in human civilization. The onset of novel coronavirus made everything from world economies to social ritual devastated, as mentioned by Scholten 2020. As this coronavirus is new, the challenges are also new. It is very disappointing to hear that gathering and working at one place like office, shopping malls, colleges, banks, universities will scattered the spread of this virus. Then WHO recommended social distancing, as mentioned by these scholars. Research problem. Avoiding close contacts leads to nearly total closure of schools, shops, malls, colleges, universities. During this lockdown era, the closing of educational institutions hampered the education system and therefore the teaching learning methods were negatively affected. It has been observed most of higher education institutes in Sri Lanka discontinued in-person lecturing. It is uncertain to get back normal lecturing soon because of social distancing in mandatory as COVID-19 rapidly spreading in Sri Lanka. However, the learners' engagement has not so far been satisfactory in the online platform because of numerous reasons. Therefore, the purpose of this study is to review of prevailing trends in online learning amidst COVID-19 pandemic in the higher education sector in Sri Lanka. Research methodology. Philosophical stance is positivism. Methodological approach, descriptive and inferential statistic analysis were made. Research purpose, explanatory in nature. Research strategy is a survey type. Time horizon, it is cross-sectional study where this particular data collection was made between first and second waves in Sri Lanka. Data sources, primary and secondary. Population, basically students attached to higher educational sector in Sri Lanka. Simple random sampling was used. Data collection tool, self-administered questionnaire was sent to Google Form. Rate of analysis individual students. We distributed around 2,400 questionnaires. We received completed questionnaire 429. So effective response rate 17.875. These are the demographic factors. When it comes to the gender, 70% of the respondents are female. 76% of them are bachelors, unmarried. Age distribution, 350 out of 429 was in between age 20 to 29, and majority of the respondents are undergraduates. Adoptions of technology. You can see mobile phone is their popular device. They had at least one device, and their operating system basically Android or Windows 10. When it comes to the data analysis, you can clearly see number of participant engagement in online platform has been increased. Login device. As I mentioned earlier, mobile phone is first and laptop is the second. So the reasons for mobile phone usage: location flexibility, time management, or lower cost of transportation. Online access. So 63.6% of the learners had used prepaid mobile data package for online access. So their most preferred data provider was Dialog Axiata. The second was Mobitel. Minute analysis: main difficulties encountered by the respondents: 43.3% of learners had domestic barriers. Reason for barriers may be limited space at home, sudden intrusion of people and pets, background sounds and interruptions, some logging issues. When it comes to the financial constraints, 27.1% of learners had financial constraints. Basically, high monthly internet bill connections bearing on unsettlement bills. This may be because of expenditure priority or low salaries and loss of income, may be main challenges. Purpose of using online search. We inquire from the respondents. So what are your purposes? 76.7 of learners' purpose is learning and knowledge enhancement, while 48.3% said gaining knowledge around the world. So they had used open sources like, Byju's Coms, Coursera, even Sri Lanka DPORG. There are so many open sources, so they had used this. Video conferencing, 94.80 of respondent learners use Zoom meeting. Zoom emerged as a clear winner. Second was 23.6% WhatsApp. Advantage of video conferencing had been highlighted by the respondents because creating collaborative and interactive learning environment, instructions of online attendance, preparations of list of online technical etiquettes, all those things were possible to the video conferencing. Therefore, Zoom meetings have been just highlighted than any other sources. Then online sources and portals in e-learning. 58% of learners logging through Google and YouTube is preferred by 25%. Users had preferred to search through Google, and video-based learning seems to be effective rather than other software or online sources. So online payment is another very important aspect to investigate. So we inquire why you use for this. So 51.7 learners had used online payments for purchase of goods, while 50.6 had used it for the billing, payment of bills. So most preferred banks, which offers online platforms, online accounts, Bank of Ceylon number 1, Commercial number 2, People's number 3, Sampat and HNB banks number 4 and 5. So we come to some inferential statistic as well. So we inquired how gender affect the social media usage according to the independent sample t-test. Our observation was there is no difference of usage of social media between males and females, even though 70% of the respondents are female. Both of them had no difference between of the usage. Then we just check any impact or relationship between age category and digital literacy. There are 4 age categories, but still, according to the ANOVA, irrespective of the age differences, all 4 categories of respondents had used digital devices in online accessing and service consumption. Education category, usage of LMS, actually postgraduate had used LMS more than other categories. Finding and discussion. There is a mandatory requirement for learners to shift online learning. Therefore, irrespective of the gender and age differences, all respondents had used online services. However, when it comes to the LMS, postgraduate had used, or they had higher trend to use it. Positive argument related to the online learning pedagogy are accessibility, affordability, flexibility, lifelong learning, independent learning. Negative argument related to online learning pedagogy are less personal attention, difficulties associated with modern technology usage, cost of technical infrastructure, low level of preparedness among learners. That is the end of our presentation. Best wishes. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Now the time for Q&A. Any questions from the audience? Okay, now it's very important to identify this type of trends, especially in this type of situation, pandemic situation. Now, from this study, you find so many important facts. So how we can use these findings when we design our teaching learning process, especially during this pandemic situation, how we can integrate those findings?
Well, yes, thank you, then Professor Sivalodasans, and thank you for person listening. Yeah, this nice, interesting question. Why we the main purpose of that? For example, then we thought when you going for all online, there will be age barrier, so that the literacy is, and so that we can consider in this one, and also there's a most difficult is infrastructure of IT, and which device is available for this, because before we introducing, mostly everybody have this mobile phone as well as a laptop, so that we already target this management students mostly. So now fairly that there are more than 71 students we can access on that. So how we implement it? So the teaching, the students prefer go for online and also video conference, and also they are capable of paying the payment in online. So these strategy how in the OUSL or whatever higher education offering in online learning. So we can consider these all infrastructures which is access to the users and infrastructure which we have to develop in higher education. So I hope I replied it.
Yes, Professor, there is another question from Pradeepa Desanayaka. How about the testing and evaluation you assume according to the findings?
Yeah, thank you very much, because we already started the online testing. We in OUSL we have already started the alternative strategy testing in online. So we also here confirm that because there are students ready, and also we have to find whether it's very suitable evaluation. There are so a lot of evaluation strategy in online platform. So what we have to do is what we can do it, and how the student can access it. So we in our faculty also we already had online examinations, evaluation, even though selection test and final examination. So that it will very help to take a decision, go forward, what type of online alternative strategy you can implement.
Okay, and there is another question from Gayane Gamage with appreciation for your presentation. The question is, would the large difference between comparison groups make an impact on the results, 300 females versus 120 males?
Yeah, because that is a gender population for our student. So that is in, because even though here in our finding one is, thing is our finding no differences age or no difference male and female. So here there's no matters in the large or the female or the male differences. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor. Now we are moving to our last presentation, abstract number 84, towards enhancing learners' engagement and motivation in open and distance learning at the Hanoi Open University. The presenter is Hong Novian Thi Thi. Over to you.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, warm greeting from Hanoi Open University, Vietnam. I am Nguyễn Thùy Thúy Hồng. It's my great pleasure to be here to present a summary of my research paper with the title Toward Enhancing Learners' Engagement and Motivation in Open and Distance Learning at Hanoi Open University. In my present today, I would like to present 6 main points. The first, background of the study. The second, roles of enhancing learner engagement and motivation in ODL. The third, real situation of learner engagement and motivation in ODL at Hanoi Open University. The next part is the finding and discussion, and the most important part in my presentation is the recommendations for enhancing learners engagement and motivation in ODL. And conclusion is the final part of my presentation today. Let me start as the background of the research. The first is learning society in the 4.0 revolution is a provide learning opportunity for all, training method trained, and ODL required with assisted technology. The second, well-qualified human resources in the digital areas, training skilled human resources to meet the requirement for sustained economic growth in Vietnam and the digital areas. And the third, breakout of the pandemic COVID-19. Online training maintains university operation to go smoothly, to react and move beyond the COVID-19. And the fourth, the sustained development goal to improve ODL quality. Therefore, online training quality is likely not as high as offline one, so we need to promote online training quality, and as a result, we need to enhance online learner engagement and motivation for improving their academic performances. I would like to mention the important role of learner engagement and motivation in ODL. We need to bring learners together in online environment in terms of learning method, communication style, and rules of behavior. The second, to stimulate learners to be more interested in the course content to complete their online courses. And the third, to enable learners to achieve their personal best, and as a result, to promote their academic performances. And the fourth, to develop learner professional capacity and expanding the learning opportunity in virtual environment. And the fifth, to enable learners to apply cognitive and mental cognitive strategy to master and self-monitor their online learning. And last but not least, to improve ODL quality and as a result, to enhance university culture and values. The study aims to answer the following objectives. The first, to generalize the role of enhancing learner engagement and motivation in ODL. The second, to identify the current situation of learner engagement and motivation in ODL at Hanoi Open University. And the third, to propose some solution to enhance learner engagement and motivation in ODL. And last but not least, to recommend some relevant strategy promoting online learners' performances in terms of learner engagement and motivation. The study based on the following literature. Self-learning engagement is a willing motivation related in the learner spontaneous contribution of their academic performances to training effectiveness through participation in learning activity based on the author Martin et al. 2018. The second, learner motivation linked to modern of three components known as unexpectancy, a value, and ineffective. According to Pinchik and Digot, 1990, learner motivation is conceptualized as an internal source which enhances, maintains, and mediates cognitive development. According to Profit 2004, learning motivation component, namely intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, personal relevance, self-efficiency, and self-determination, according to Glynn et al. 2011. The study apply the following research methodology. The first, descriptive method research. The second, population 2010 online learner of Hanoi Open University, and instrument Excel and SPSS program for ANOVA analysis and strategic treatment, the data coded and transferred into SPSS program for ANOVA analysis, and statistical method, frequency count, percentage, and weighted mean. After carrying out survey questionnaire, the author collected the result in terms of learner engagement in ODLs as follows. In terms of engagement of ODL at Hanoi Open University, expectancy component as follows. Value component, weighted mean as 3.38. And in terms of effective component, the result as follows. And our overall weighted mean is 3.33, and decretive rating A and decretive impression good. In terms of learner motivation in ODL, the survey result questionnaire as follows. In terms of intrinsic motivation, we have the weighted mean 3.35, and extrinsic motivation, the result as follows. And in terms of personal relevance, self-efficiency, on the last self-determination. And the overall weighted mean of learner motivation in LDL is 3.36. Decretive rating nature and decretive is good. Based on the finding and discussion in terms of learner engagement at AAOU, the author will have some finding and discussion. Respondents agree on the three statements describing learner engagement in ODL, and average weighted mean is 3.33, which is not very high. And learner engagement in terms of affective component with the highest weighted mean of 3.41. Learner engagement in terms of expectancy with the lowest weighted mean of 3.32, while the other one values the weighted mean is of 3.38, which is not very efficient enough. We can come to the conclusion that the current learners' engagement at whole in ODL are not as efficient as they are expected. In terms of learner motivation, we have the following finding and discussion. The respondents agree on 1 out of 5 statements concerning learners' engagement in ODL. Average weighted mean 3.36, which is not very high. Learner engagement referring self-efficiency with the highest weighted mean of 3.45, while self-determination of the lowest one is of 3.30, which is very efficient, not very efficient enough. Learners' engagement in terms of intrinsic motivation, extrinsic motivation, personal relevance, and self-determination with the average weighted mean of 3.35, 3.33, and 3.40 accordingly, and it is not efficiency enough. We can come to a conclusion that the current status of learner motivation in online learning at Hanoi Open University still needs improving. And now let me come to the most important part of my presentation today is the recommendation for enhancing learner engagement in ODL at Hanoi Open University. The first, we need to establish close links between the instructed learners to help learners to be monitored and improved. The second, we need to show online learners with their learning goals and the importance of the task to be obtained this goal. And the third, we need to pay much attention to psychology empowerment to motivate online learners dealing with the STAT learning task. In terms of learner motivation in ODL at Hanoi Open University, I would like to propose some recommendations. The first, we need to innovate curriculums, training organization and teaching methods to make online learning interesting and enjoying. The second, we need to pay much attention to providing online learning with community benefits, package or cooperative wellness program. The third, we need to embrace a new mindset and master suitable skills as personal relevant concerning learner goals to be more productive and profitable. And the fourth, we need to identify motivating factors making the learners to feel confident and stay engaged so that they can perform their best. Last but not least, we need to identify motivation driver to provide online learners overall views on their operation, namely scores, strengths, and weaknesses. Before coming to the end of my presentation, I would like to conclude that Hanoi Open University should develop the effective strategy to enhance learners' engagement and motivations in open and distance learning in order to the first, improve learner achievement and university values. The second, to enhance online training quality and effectiveness. And the last, to achieve training set objective in the digital areas. That is the end of my presentation today. Thank you very much for the attention.
Okay, thank you very much for your interesting presentation. And now the time for Q&A. Any questions?
Yeah, thank you for the time. I'm ready to answer the question. Please write some question for me.
Any questions from the audience?
Yes, from audience. Thank you very much for spending the time to listen for my presentation. I'm ready to answer any comment and question from the audience.
Kalau gitu saya bertanya. Mau ya?
Yes, do you have any questions?
I have a question, one more question. Thank you very much for your opportunity to give me one question for you. What do you do? What do you mean? What do you to get the data of your research? I mean, would you please to explain detail? What do you do to get the data of your research?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I'm getting the data from the carrying out the survey with the online student. Yes. By the designing the questionnaire.
Yes.
Yes.
By online, yeah, your questionnaire distribution by online, yeah.
Yeah, I by on the data I get from the questionnaire I design based on the engagement, the factor or the driver, the factor which drives engagement and motivation of learner, online learner, such as personal relevant, yes, intrinsic motivation, yes, some factor, some engagement factor, yes, that motivate student learners, motivation and engagement, yes.
Okay, thank you. And there's another question.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for the interesting questions.
Yeah, from Indonesia, Open University Makassar, Indonesia.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you. And there is another question from two participants. Their common question is, can you explain how descriptive ratings were taken?
Yes, I use this basing the descriptive rating basing on the lower as well as analysis. Yes, and present for nature and I present the good. So based on the to
to describe and to analyze the data and come to some conclusion. And based on the conclusion, I give some recommendation. Yeah, the rating is N is a nature, and I is good interpreting based on another analysis.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions?
Yeah, thank you for the question.
Okay, I think that's over. Now we come to the end of this session. So I would like to thank all the presenters for your valuable contribution. We learned a lot about different practices that we can be adapted in our ODL environment to increase learner engagement and their motivation. So thank you very much. And the audience for your very active participation. Thank you very much to you all and have a good day.
Thank you.
I think we need to take a photograph. So all of the presenters, the chairperson and the presenters, all of you have to keep your videos on so that we can take a photograph of you. Take a screen print. So okay, thank you very much. And thank you very much, Dr. De Silva, for your lively and nicely organized session. So you did it very well. And we have 1 hour break, and we will be starting the next session at 1 p.m. of Sri Lankan time. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Naina.
Welcome.